Guys, welcome back, Explain Genius. So we talked about going out and actually looking at angiosperms and kind of seeing the differences between dicots and monocots. But I want to start going into plant anatomy and specifically the anatomy of a leaf, so we can kind of like build this up, so you guys can kind of see how your plant works and kind of what's the structures that goes on in between a leaf, and then we can go on to like um the entire shoot system later. But so this is how it will look like inside of a leaf, pretty much. So this is our plant anatomy, plant anatomy 101. So what we have here is, let's start off with the cuticle, right? So the cuticle is that uppermost layer of a leaf, right? And that's like when you see like house plants and just like that shiny coat on your plants, that's that cuticle layer. That's waxy, right? That protects the plant. It acts, it's like if you put like lotion on your body or oil, like it's that extra layer of protection, right? And then we have the cuticle. Now that's just like the skin. I mean, that we have the epidermis. That's just the skin. So that's just like the layer that encompasses the entire cell. There's the upper epidermis and the lower epidermis. So this is just what's keeping everything inside, right? And then we have what's called mesophyll cells. So that's these ones, which are palisade mesophyll cells, and then these ones, which are spongy mesophyll cells. So what happens? What's in the mesophyll cells is these are where the chloroplasts are. And if you guys don't know, chloroplasts are what are the organelles that go through the process of photosynthesis, and that's what how a plant turns sunlight and energy into sugars. So these are like your main ones. Like they'll line the top of the leaf. That's why, like, the top of the leaf is always like darker because it's a heavy concentration of chloroplast, and that's where all the sunlight is hitting and it's going down, and that's what these cells are doing, taking that, right? But then there'll be some sunlight that slips through and diffuse into these cells, and the part of these cells are kind of like to pick up the leftover light that these guys didn't get, but also they create space for gas exchange, right? Because if you guys know, like chlorophyll also, I mean, for photosynthesis to happen, you need gases. You need carbon dioxide, right? So you get your CO2. Ooh, that's a crazy CO2. You get your CO2, and then you have water, and then you get sugar. I mean, that's not that's the and oxygen. That's kind of the chemical equation, but it's not really like balanced, I don't think. But that's pretty much what happens. So they take all the gas, and the gas comes from the cells. So like when you're looking at the bottom of your leaf, there's a bunch of these little somatas at the bottom. Like there's millions of them, and they all take in carbon dioxide from the air, and then that's where all that process happens. And then they also release the oxygen back out. So they take in the CO2 and then release it out. And so that's everything that goes in here. And then now we go into our vascular cambium, which is really just kind of like, in this sense, we're just talking about the xylem and the phloem. We won't get too much into that, but this is pretty much our veins inside of the plant, right? So the xylem, this blue part, this is the veins that are connected to the roots and to the rest of into the leaves, but it's from roots to leaves because they're taking water from the soil and then transporting up the plant into the leaves. While the phloem, it's transport the sugar, and this is pretty much this is leaves to roots. So they take the sugars created from the leaves, and take it to the roots for the roots to store up that sugar, right? So this is pretty much like our veins, pretty much. Like how we got oxygen blood, deoxygenated blood. It's not necessarily the same, but if you kind of think about it like that, it's just like one's transporting sugars and the other one's transporting water and nutrients. So that's the whole thing. So that's our whole leaf furrow. So now you guys kind of know a little bit of the parts of like the anatomy of the inside of a leaf, and I'll get to the shoot system in our next video. But I thank you guys for watching, and I just feel like this is just something important to know. Like, you might not get into plant science for real, but like at least you kind of know like this is what's inside a leaf, or you at least you can remember some of it. So you're like, okay, like I understand this part a little bit, you know. But again, thank you guys for watching. My name is Plant Genius, and remember, you can be a plant genius too. Peace out.